Hello and welcome to your Tuesday edition of The Nerve. I am your host, Maureen Callahan, and we have so much to get into today. There was a ton of breaking news over the weekend. First, we are going to explore the latest details on Prince Andrew being effectively kicked out of the royal family. And it looks like one Prince William was the muscle behind that move. And if that's not sending a clear and present message to one Meghan Markle, who seems to be preoccupied with getting some freebies from high-end designers and possibly launching a makeup line, priorities, okay? We're also going to get into a ton of developments on the celebrity front, including the latest on Keith and Nicole's breakup, what's going on with Julia Roberts. Her latest film is a massive, massive flop. Just a ton of stuff. And then after that, we're going to go into some complaints from new offenders who are going into the woodshed. I'm going to say for at least a week. One may be finding himself with a more permanent residence. We shall see. Then we've got your emails. And following that, we have our, we were going to do this last week, and I'm so glad that we had so much stuff that we had to get into that we had to punt it to this week, but the timing is perfect because this person just won a ton of Emmy awards. And trust me, The Nerve has things to say about that, okay? We all try to make the healthy choice when it comes to our meals and to snacking, but sometimes you just want the chips. Well, now there's a way to have both. Introducing Vandy Crisps, a healthy alternative to regular chips. What sets them apart? No seed oils. Vandy is made with 3 simple ingredients: heirloom tomatoes, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. That tallow is packed with nutrients for your skin, brain, hormones, and unlike seed oils, which have studies linking them to inflammation and metabolic issues, Vandy Crisps taste great and will leave you feeling satisfied, energized, with no bloating and no sluggishness. Ready to give Vandy a try? Go to vandycrisps.com/Maureen and use code Maureen for 25% off your first order. That's vandycrisps.com/Maureen and code Maureen for 25% off your first order. And if you don't feel like ordering online and prefer in-person shopping, Vandy is now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket. So stop by and grab a bag before they're gone. To begin, joining me for all of this is Rob Shooter, naughty but nice celebrity reporter. Rob, welcome to The Nerve.
Hey, it's great to be back. I've missed you. I love doing this show. My friends listen and watch. The response has been great. So thank you for having me back.
We're so happy, and congrats on your new book, which we will be plugging as the pub date approaches. Tell us about your new novel.
Yes, I sold my first novel,
Congrats.
and it is now available for pre-orders, which I didn't really think mattered, but I've been
told
by my it does, doesn't it? My publisher is telling me you've got to get people to buy this book now. If you don't, the algorithm's messed up and nobody cares, and they don't print it. So please, if you're gonna buy it now, so I can get these pre-orders.
Yes, support Rob in his endeavors to bring us the latest. Your book is a novel. I can't wait to talk to you about
gossip.
Who and what has informed it. I bet a few repeat offenders might be recognizable. But first, Rob, I want to get into the latest developments out of Buckingham Palace with you. This was explosive. You know, it's been long reported that Prince William has wanted Andrew out. And we actually looked at that incredibly awkward clip of Prince Andrew attempting to engage Prince William at a recent royal funeral, and William looked most displeased. And I think that the timing is interesting, and we can get into that. But royal expert Hillary Fordwich told Fox News Digital that Andrew, quote, will never be seen in public again with the senior royals. Prince William has been the force behind all of this, and he is right. Prince William is looking far more long-term at the viability, reputation, and indeed existence of the monarchy. Rob.
Yeah, I agree with Hillary there, except we can't trust King Charles. He's a very weak man. He loves his brother. He still has great affection for his mother, Queen Elizabeth, and Andrew was her favorite. So William has been trying to make this move for about a year. He's been really, really forceful about it. And his dad just wouldn't budge. He wouldn't go there. And so what has happened recently? What has happened now that has made Charles comfortable with doing this? And when I say comfortable, he's not comfortable. Charles, this is the habit of the royal family. I used to work for the British royal family. I was a publicist for Princess Michael of Kent. They don't like to act. They like to bury their head in the sand. They like to carry on. They like to pretend that time heals a lot of wounds. And it actually has in a few instances. But in this case, it's not going to. So William has said, I've had enough. There's a new book coming out about Jeffrey Epstein in a few days. It's going to be explosive.
Virginia Giuffre,
exactly. Speaking from the grave. She
died by suicide. Some don't believe it was suicide, but an Epstein victim, the most vocal, who sued Prince Andrew, and Andrew paid her millions upon millions.
The money I reported came from his mommy. Andrew doesn't have this money. So Queen Elizabeth, his mom, ponied up the money. And so Charles has fond memories of him as a child. They were brothers together. However, this brother grew up to be a monster. And now William is really, really putting his foot down. You would think this would be an easy argument to make. If my uncle was hanging out with a paedophile, if my uncle was paying millions of dollars to shut somebody up who has since committed suicide, I'd probably be able to convince my family pretty quickly that this isn't somebody we should be seen with. In private, you want to do it, that's up to you. My family probably wouldn't do that either. But he couldn't convince his dad. Charles just didn't want to do this. And finally, I think this is a real success for William. It's also an indication about who is now running the family, and it's not the king.
It truly is. And, the timing, William struck, finally, the timing aligned with William's desire to expel Andrew. You have the Virginia Giuffre book, and then there was a bombshell report this weekend in the Daily Mail that London's Metropolitan Police have confirmed that they are, quote, actively looking into reports that Prince Andrew asked his protection officer to dig up dirt on accuser Virginia Giuffre and actually obtained her social security number.
It's shocking. Just shocking. This is taxpayer security. My mom and dad, the taxpayers in Britain, are paying for this security. And let's be clear too, the security has been in the public debate for a while because this is what Harry and Meghan want. They want this security back. They want the taxpayer to pay for this. So they're not getting it, but yet disgraced Prince Andrew is, and not only is he getting it, he's weaponizing it. He's using it to go after his alleged victim here. So I think the combination of all this was a delight for William. William needed to push his dad over the edge. I'm told he sat there, he waited for the right moment. He knows his dad, a very weak man, a nice man, but a weak man. And when William realized this book and this bombshell was about to drop, he moved decisively, and now he's out.
It's chess. It's the long game that William plays. And now one would think that the gruesome twosome in Montecito might finally get the message that they are next. I think when I said that I think the timing is interesting, it wasn't just due to the revelations that are coming out in the posthumous Giuffre book and this latest bombshell report about Andrew abusing his power to get to try to dig up dirt on Virginia Giuffre, but I think that William, by all reports, and you had this, was livid beyond words at Meghan's stunt in Paris, driving by Diana's death tunnel and then throwing that up on Instagram with her feet up in a limousine.
Nobody was more angry about this than Prince William. This is his mother too. Harry seems to forget that all the time, and Meghan doesn't seem to care less about whose mother it is if it can help her. But when she did that stunt, William exploded. This is a fortune-telling moment. You do not need a crystal ball, Meghan. If you're listening, hello. You're next. If you keep this up, even actually...
I think it's over for her.
Over.
I think that was the final straw.
It's over.
There's no way coming back. You cannot come back from that. And even, I don't think you and I have talked since the event in New York City last week, where the two of them showed up to collect yet another meaningless humanitarian award. And Harry could barely look at her on the red carpet. She was doing her best adoring gaze, saucer-eyed, and he could barely even look in her direction.
I had sources there. I had reporters on the carpet. That didn't work for me, but friends of mine who were credentialed to get in, and they were very strict about that. They wouldn't let a lot of outlets in. They wouldn't let people like me in. It was really only outlets that are not really media, but are sort of press releases for publicists.
Interesting.
Very, very friendly outlets. So they wouldn't let some of the real outlets in, but they let all these fluffy ones in. And they said Harry was miserable from the moment he arrived. He didn't like it. I imagine the flashbulbs triggers him, but he just didn't like it. And instead of quickly getting through that press line with her husband, Meghan took her time. He had to pull her at one point. He didn't want to be there. And so she probably should have done it alone. She might still be doing it now. Meghan does not rush through a press line. She likes to talk to outlets that like her. No. And so Meghan and Harry, he pulled her off. It was very, very uncomfortable. The weirdest moment in New York, and people even in the room told me they didn't really know what this award was for. Nobody understood. Why are they getting this award? Like, why are they here? They're there to get publicity, and they're very good at doing that, but I would argue for themselves, not for the organization. And so I think people are scratching their heads, unsure about why they were here, what this was all about. But Harry, really uncomfortable.
We know what it's all about. It's just another dopamine hit. It's just another hit of publicity. It's just to make ourselves look and feel important. I think Harry's look of disgust had to do exactly with the Diana death tunnel stunt. He was not in Paris. He likes flashbulbs when it's his way. He loves to court the media when it's on his terms. Now, as to these reports that Meghan has been hitting up designers, high-end designers, for freebies. Rob, this is your reporting. Please explain.
Yeah, it's been going on for years. So when she first joined the family, she was still wearing clothes that were given to her by designers. This is part of the celebrity business. Designers are happy to lend certain celebrities their clothes. They often, though, insist they have them back. They don't give you clothes. They lend you those clothes. They're brought back. They're dry cleaned. So when you see all these dresses at the Oscars, those dresses go back the next day. I've been on award shows with big stars, and at the end of the night, that dress is packed up and sent back. Meghan ordered lots and lots of clothes, was very sloppy sending them back. So she didn't have a good reputation as a celebrity. She sent them back eventually, but it took a lot of phone calls. It wasn't easy, and this should be easy. And so she had a bad reputation amongst designers. Then when she joined the royal family, the family said, we just do not do this. If you see Kate Middleton wear something, she bought it, and she bought it for retail. She did not get a VIP HRH discount. She paid for whatever she is wearing.
Would never.
She would never. Meghan enjoys a freebie. I think she likes the power of designers dressing.
Do you think she got to keep that messianic cult garb she wore at Balenciaga, or do you think that was like, a steam clean and back she goes?
I think it was. I think that was sent back, and that's why we never.
Oh my God, Rob! Could you imagine the makeup that got all over that thing? It had this wrap around the chin, and we've got tons of foundation, no makeup. Imagine.
It's another show, maybe a late night show. There's certain celebrities that designers will not lend to. Can you tell us who? There was a lady on The View, a host of The View, who was borrowing clothes and then lost a lot of weight. And I'm not going to paint a more graphic picture than that, but the clothes were returned a little soiled. And that person... Would
that be Whoopi or Sunny?
It was Star Jones. It was Star.
Oh, Star.
Jones. It was Star.
She is so missed.
Back in the day.
Star Jones.
I know.
Jennifer Aniston. Star Jones walked so Jennifer Aniston could run. Do you remember when Star Jones had her marriage to Al Reynolds, who we all knew was a gay man?
Yes,
everyone except Star.
But at the time he wasn't gay. It was like when Liza got married to David Guest, and we weren't allowed to.
Nobody could say, "Hey, your fiance's a gay man," and but she got like a ton of sponsors, and every day on The View she'd be like, "I have another sponsor for my wedding."
Barbara Walters was sitting there cringing. So Meghan likes to borrow clothes. She was told by the royal family she couldn't do that. Now, in her words, not mine, she would argue she was kicked out of this family. They didn't appreciate her. So she can now do what she wants. So she's back to borrowing designer clothes and sending them back. I hope she's a little bit more respectful of the timeline and sends them back rather quickly. But she is now borrowing lots and lots of celebrity clothes again.
Would that possibly be why, Rob? This is a mystery that has ensorcelled me for many years. Why we have seen Meghan wear a wool cashmere blend Max Mara trench coat in spring in Montecito?
Yes, I think you might.
We're getting an off-season little. Okay, cute.
I think you've cracked it. I think you've cracked it there. So these two watch out there. You know, there's new reported out of Britain today that when William is coronated, and I hope this isn't a news flash, but it's not going to be that long. Charles is a very sick man, and so when William is king, he's not going to have the Sussexes at his coronation. And we've just seen what he's done to his uncle. Mm-hmm. Those titles are gone. Meghan and Harry still have that Sussex title. Maybe he will make a move against them next. I would say he will.
I love the tension that they must be living under because, you know, Meghan, did you see her tote bag? Was it Longchamp or whatever? When she was departing from wherever the hell she was in New York, and it was monogrammed with an enormous D. S. Please do not pay attention to me. I fled for my privacy, but just in case you missed it, I am, yes, the Duchess of Sussex, rolling my shit through JFK. Amazing. Amazing.
You've almost got to admire, that's maybe not the right word, but you've almost got to admire the chutzpah. They just have no shame.
They're so tacky.
It so is. I'm doing this book promotion, and I hate having to beg for people to buy my work. I know
it's so rough. I get it completely. You're trying to sell a book, but you got to do it because you got to pierce all the noise.
Got to do it. And Meghan's going to be my inspiration for this. Meghan, if I get a hit book, honestly, it's just the balls, the actual, there's no shame. She doesn't care. She doesn't care.
And she has zero self-awareness. She doesn't understand how, you know, she doesn't understand what she's up to. But I've got to ask you this one other piece of this morsel before we move on. I read or heard that she went to Hermes, creme de la creme of high-end brands, like way up there, and asked either to borrow clothes or to become something of a paid spokesperson for the $990 sandals that she loves to wear so much. And none other than the CEO said, "Thank you kindly, but no."
It's absolutely right. It's totally on brand for Meghan. About 15 years ago, before she met Harry, she decided that she wanted to be on television as a lifestyle expert. And so she unannounced, turned up at the Wendy Williams show office. Just turned up. She wanted to be Wendy Williams' lifestyle expert. And so she turned up at the office. She waited in the lobby. She finally got upstairs and she sat down with the producer in a really, really shitty little dirty office.
Oh, you know it. You know those production
Street, magazines everywhere. You know Wendy was sloppy. It was a mess of an office. But she walked in and she sat down on this dirty little sofa. And for 20 minutes, she pitched why she should be the fashion expert for the Wendy Williams show. After 20 minutes, the producer was like, "Well, it's been lovely to spend time with you. I'm not really quite sure who you are, but we're not going to move forward with this." And then she left a little muffin, she left a little gift, and she was on her way. And then a couple of months later, she gets the gig on the Today Show. So this is the Meghan Markle way. She pitches herself. We saw her pitch herself to the head of Disney at the Lion King
on the red carpet. No, she had Harry do it while she pretended to have no idea what he was doing over there. She's chatting it up with Beyonce. She's a picture of class over here. She would never. What did she do on the Today Show, Rob? I forgot about this.
She was a lifestyle correspondent. And so there's footage of it. The Today Show doesn't really like to let this footage out that often, but there was footage of her, there still exists, doing fashion shows, talking about texture and fabrics. And she would be on there talking about her blog. Was it the Twig?
The Tig.
The Tig. And so she was on there doing lifestyle segments. I'm told it certainly helped that at the time Matt Lauer was the host, and he was instrumental in getting Meghan Markle her Today Show gig.
How interesting that none of that exists really on the internet. Just saying, we still know that she was a suitcase girl on Deal or No Deal, but whoa, you know what? I really think her fall is going to be as precipitous as her rise was.
It's going to be spectacular. And there's going to be, like Andrew, there's going to be a moment when just even people that still defend her just cannot do it anymore. There's going to be, I thought the Diana tape was the end. Sort of was, but I think there's going to be more because she's not learning any lessons.
Oh, no. Now, when I saw this headline, I thought of you immediately. There are more developments in the Nicole Kidman Keith Urban bust up. His former bandmate who allegedly reportedly did a ton of cocaine with Keith told the National Enquirer about their party days and how they would stay up for days on end, and like Keith could basically do like a brick worth, and like he's like the Keith Richards of country, Tell us what you have heard.
Well, first of all, that National Enquirer is onto something here, and only they would be able to get a band member. Keith is sloppy. He's talked about this. We're not going to get in trouble by saying that. Keith has been honest about his sobriety a month into his marriage. A month. He went to the Betty Ford clinic a month into. So he was sloppy on his wedding night. He's been sloppy. He's never not been sloppy until hopefully he has sobriety, which he claims he does now. But I think he's a messy guy. There's drugs involved. There's sex involved. There's booze involved. There's an Oscar award-winning actress involved. My question is how did she tolerate this? She knew it. It wasn't a surprise. She knew a month in. How do you stay together for 19 years? I'm told that the difference is not the drugs, not the booze, but the women. That's what ended it. She could tolerate the drugs. She could tolerate the booze. She could even tolerate him going to rehab. What she couldn't tolerate is there being another woman in this relationship. There's been rumors about him for a really long time. I think that's ultimately what broke them up. She said, enough. I don't want to do this anymore. But the headlines are going to keep coming with him because he is a sloppy musician who's been on the road for 20, 30 years. When you're on the road, there's your whole band with you, your crew with you, the riggers with you. There's a lot of people there that can talk.
Groupies, and there's lots of options. This is an occupational hazard. Nicole knows this.
She knows it. She knows it. And so this story is going to keep going on. I saw he did a concert recently where he always picks a lady in the crowd. He likes that interaction. And he picked a lady and he asked her name and she said, Nicole, slightly of all the people in the world. He was sort of awkward about it, but he carried on. What's interesting too is the alleged lady, a guitar player in his band, has disappeared. We're not quite sure.
Oh, Maggie's gone.
Maggie doesn't appear to be performing with them anymore, but Maggie does have, if you're interested, her own single out. So you ride this wave of publicity, girl.
Good luck with that, Maggie. Okay, now I got to ask you about Julia Roberts.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to do a longer piece on this because I'm fascinated, but like I can't recall a time in recent memory since COVID ended that we have seen so many major movie stars with major films released theatrically bomb at the box office. Leo's was one. Julia Roberts, who did a megaton of publicity for this film After the Hunt by a very well, it seems like it's trying to be a Tar or something, but it's not as well executed. It's bombed. It initially opened in 6 theaters as a limited release, which is a strategy, expanded to a little bit over 1,200 theaters this past weekend and averaged $1,200 per theater. Rob, what does this tell us about Julia Roberts and the state of the movie star in America?
A couple of things. The movie star in America is no longer what it was. And I think that's a good thing too. Those days of getting $20 million a movie are over. We saw recently the Brad Pitt and George Clooney movie tanked. Jennifer Lopez, Kiss of the Spider
Woman tanked.
Disaster. And so this is the new norm. The other mistake that I think movie stars are making, and Julia is making here, is she's forgot that she's a movie star and she wants to be an actress, and she's not. You don't hire Julia Roberts because she's a great actress. You hire her because she's Julia Roberts, and the public want to see her being Julia Roberts. And so Pam Anderson's allowed to do this in Showgirls, but she's the only one. Everybody else, you have an image, you have a reputation, you give your audience what they want. And when you stop doing that, when you get too arrogant, then you lose your audience. We've seen this with pop stars. I remember one year when Madonna went on tour and she decided she was not going to sing the hits. No. She was just going to sing her new material. It was a disaster. We want the hits. We want Pretty Woman. We want Julia with the big smile from ear to ear. We don't want broody, grumpy Julia trying to get an Academy Award, another Academy Award. We should point out she does have one from Erin Brockovich. And so I think she started to believe her own hype here, and she thinks she's Meryl Streep. She's Julia Roberts. Make rom-coms. Make me laugh. Make Pretty Woman Part 2. That's what she should be doing.
Is there a Pretty Woman Part 2 coming out this December?
There should be. They didn't ever do it, but there should be. But that's where she will make her money. Going back in nostalgia and those movies that we love to see her in. And let's be honest too now, Julia makes her money from, is it Lancome, from the fragrance company. So she's making millions and millions of dollars of doing that. And I think this is like a hobby now. It's not a hobby to the movie studio. They hired Julia because they wanted the publicity, the attention of a movie star, and she didn't deliver. And I don't think she delivered acting either. The reviews are pretty weak on it. Hire Julia Roberts because she's a movie star. Don't hire her because you want a great actress.
You know, this is fascinating to me. We're going to get into Jared Leto in 1 second, but we are seeing what were once considered bulletproof, like guaranteed stars who could deliver, who would, if not critically, have just about every project be phenomenally successful, you know, at least, or rather critically successful, at least be commercially successful. Yeah. Julia tanked, Leo tanked, Taylor is tanking critically.
Yeah. The Rock
tanked. Great point.
Gone.
His Oscar bait film came and went, and he had a ton of press too. He was the cover of the New York Times Magazine.
Yes. Yeah. It must be shocking to them. I've worked with a lot of movie stars, including I used to rep Jennifer Lopez, and they can't believe that the world has changed. And being on social media is so below Julia Roberts. She's trying.
I know.
But that's what Tom Cruise tries to be on social media, but he doesn't really want to do it. And they just are absolutely perplexed that Kim Kardashian and these young influencers and these people that we are talking about, it is not them. If you look at the covers of the magazines now, it's not them anymore. The time has moved on, and they have not, and they have enough money that they should just gracefully retire. But playing the old game with the old keys is not going to unlock the new doors.
You're so right. You know, the cover story of the Hollywood Reporter this week goes to how Hollywood has finally embraced the creator in the digital lane. They understand the power and the commerce that influencers and YouTube creators bring, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not the old ways. You can't execute the old publicity strategies with an A-list movie star and expect, you know, even Brad Pitt's F1, which was an Apple production, they spent the most money on any production. They were on the edges of their seat because they didn't know if Brad Pitt, despite all of his stardom and his star power, could deliver for them. This is how broken the model is.
It's broken, and it used to be an easy fix, didn't it? Hire a big movie star. If you've got a script that isn't very good, or you've got a story, a movie that's not very good, you hire a big movie star, and it'll be not a critical hit, but it's going to make its money back. That's no longer true, and I think too, streaming has changed everything. I can get such good quality shows now without leaving my house. Why am I going to go all the way uptown to watch a movie with Julia Roberts, who I've never really thought was a great actress, but she is a movie star? The world has changed, and we've jumped on it. We're doing our podcasts. We're on social media now. It's a pain in the bottom to do this stuff. It really is like it's It's easier just to go on one show and you sell your movie. You gotta sell it. And a lot of these celebrities don't want to do that. They think it's below them. They don't want to give interviews. They don't want to really talk. And I think that's part of Julia's problem too. I don't know who she is. I don't know anything about her. I don't know her politics. I don't know what she stands for. I don't know what
we
she
do know her politics though, because she did that Kamala town hall with Oprah Winfrey.
She did.
Remember?
She did
And I think she lost a lot of people the same way Taylor lost a lot of people throwing her hat in the ring. And by the way, to your point about the way publicity works now, when you watch it in mainstream media, the Today shows, the Access Hollywoods, Watch What Happens Live. Julia did a one-on-one on Watch What Happens Live with Andrew Cohen, as we call him here. I don't know if you happen to see it, but among the games he played with Julia was, I'm going to give you a line of dialogue from one of your movies, and you, Julia, are going to tell me what that movie was from. Can you guess the movie that you made? And then Julia Roberts, of course, got everyone right because she's a mega narcissist movie star, just my opinion. And Andy was like falling all over himself. Like he seemed a little, Julia, oh my God, you got it right. You got Pretty Woman right. And you're watching this at home and you're like, these two are effing ridiculous.
It hurts them though. It really hurts them. They think having soft questions helps them. It doesn't. I remember when Andy had Sarah Jessica Parker on his show, who's one of his best friends, right after the Kim Cattrall situation exploded. He didn't ask. He asked questions about her shoes, what she likes for dinner, but he didn't ask the one question. And I think that's what Julia has sort of done too. She has created a veneer. She keeps us at bay, and she only lets us in when she wants us to spend our money.
She's too big to become personable in any way.
She's too big a star, and she won't play this game. And now she's trying to a little bit, like she's putting a few pictures up on Instagram, but we all know that it's not genuine. I think I just got to it. It's about being authentic. And I don't mind if you're really awful, but you're authentic. I love a villain. I love a good villain. Julia won't be the villain, but she won't be the hero. And none of it adds up to me. And I think that there's so many options now that to go and see a modest actress in a role that she only got because she's famous isn't worth
in a
my
movie
money.
That seems like a slog and a dirge. It's a message movie. And
put
like
her into Mamma Mia or give me I want to see I'm Dancing with the Stars. I want to see Julia do something funny, something wild.
Go on The Masked Singer. Just do something that, like that. So, oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you, what was this making me think of? You just reminded me of something like, oh, do you know who's a master at this? And I think you put your finger right on it because he is authentic. A master at not giving away much of his personal life at all, not active on social media, but is beloved because he is the real deal. And everybody who's ever dealt with him says he's nice, is Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. He's on Broadway at the moment.
And he's the reviews are terrible.
Terrible.
And it's selling out because people love Keanu. Everybody roots for him.
That's what I used to say to people I worked with, whether it be Alicia Keys or Jessica Simpson. I was John Bon Jovi's publicist. And I was like, at the end of the day, you're not really in the entertainment business. You're in the friendship business. And people want a friend. And the celebrities that get that, you pay all that money to hear me sing my greatest hits. You want me to sign something? Absolutely. Yes, I will. Those are the celebrities that are going to survive this massive change. Julia's going to look like a dinosaur. And with movie producers aren't charities. They do it for one reason, to make a lot of money. Yep. And so the next time someone's going to hire Julia, they're going to go to their computer and they're going to look up her box office for her last few movies. And then they're going to see how much money she wants, her hair and makeup bill, her car bill, her first class or a guest private plane bills. I'm not paying it. If you can't deliver a massive, massive opening, you're just not worth it. And I can hire somebody straight out of Juilliard who's probably a better actress, and she doesn't come with that complication, and she'll deliver as big a box office as you.
Now, before we end on our movie segment, there's so much we can get to, but I want to talk about Jared Leto, who had a huge flop with Tron Ares, if I'm saying it correctly. This devastating Hollywood Reporter headline. No one asked for this reboot. Tron may mark end of Jared Leto's franchise leading days. The implication, I believe, herein, also I didn't get to read the whole piece, is that the accusations by at least 9 women of grooming and sexual abuse that Jared Leto undertook with them, beginning when some of them were just teenagers, has a stink on him that will not go away.
Good.
What are your thoughts?
Good. I hope it never, ever goes away. And instead of having grace and retiring with all your millions of dollars, what did you do? You thought you could just carry on like nothing had happened. It's the Prince Andrew thing. We're repeating the show. It's great. We're going to go back to the beginning. It's that arrogance that instead of taking a moment to reflect, or maybe you shouldn't be making movies anymore. Maybe you should be doing other stuff. Maybe you should be doing nothing. But they don't think like that. So for him to go forward with Disney, I believe Disney were the producers of this too, and a multi-$100 million movie was just so dumb. And it's shocking to me that nowhere in that process to get a movie from a script to actually being released takes years and a lot of people.
So
one
true.
person, not one person, stood up and said, Jared Leto, of all the people, why don't we get Bill Cosby too? Like, I mean, what is the thinking here? It makes no sense to me. There's a stink on him. And the reason there's a stink on him is it feels really authentic. He's an odd guy. He's a weird guy. He's always been a bit of a creepy
Dark,
character. And
my opinion.
now that this Hollywood Reporter story, they're on fire, by the way. They did an expose on Kevin Costner. Like I think they were Sean as the editor. It's fantastic.
Such good work over there.
I'm reading every word of it. And it really, as a friend of mine says, and I love this expression, when they bite you, it leaves teeth marks. Like if they bite you, it leaves teeth. So you do too, Maureen. You can leave a bite.
Oh, you're so sweet, Rob. What can I say to that? I just want to add one thing. You know, in the aughts, there used to be this middle part of the arc when a celebrity was caught in some sort of compromising position, or drugs, or, you know, Mel Gibson, you know, sugar tits, and, you know, the whole thing, anti-Semitic remarks, and then rehabilitation, or I'm going back to movie making and all that's behind me. Either rehab or mental health check-ins, whatever. Like that was the part you just plug and played. Like, oh, whoops. That wasn't me. I didn't say that. I didn't do that. I didn't commit that crime. I'm going to rehab. And then you just like shut yourself away like it could be in your house. Who cares? Everybody knew it was a joke, that it was just part of like the PR thing you had to do. And now there's this kind of arrogance, which is wild because, as you said, we're in the old ways are broken. The model is smashed to dust. We all see what we see, and we talk to each other about it online. They just skip the middle part, and they're like, hey, I'm just going to go on with my life, whether it's at Buckingham Palace or I'm Jared Leto with my cult, whatever.
Yes. After Meghan Markle's Diana video, she went to a humanitarian.
Yes.
Don't do that. There's no shame to it. But what's going to happen here is that the public smart, we're really smart about this. There's so many options now. We can decide who we're going to give our money to. You know, Meghan's line is a disaster. These movies are a disaster. We don't have to show up. And the minute you get too big and you forget that, and it happens a lot, not just with celebrities, but people in the business world, when you forget that truth, then your career's over. And I think that I don't know if there's any coming back for these individuals we've been talking about today. And it's primarily because of them. Lots of crimes, lots of awful behavior is forgiven very quickly in America. As a Brit, I can say one of the joys about Americans is they do forgive, but you've got to say sorry.
You got to mean it. We've got to really believe that you are.
And these are meant to be actors, Maureen. They should know how to at least pretend that they mean it.
I know, right? Maybe that explains the bum reviews for Julia's new Joyride.
It's rough.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you so much for dishing with us on a Tuesday. We love having you, and we will see you very soon.
Take care, my friend. It's good to see you.
Likewise. Oh my God. Is Rob not the best? Is Rob not the best? Okay. When we come back, I just want to do a little, I'm just going to go in. I'm going to take Ashton Kutcher out to the woodshed. Okay. And then we're going to get to, we're going to talk about others who have issued similar laments over the years. And then we're going to get to your emails, and then our freshest Emmy winner / offender back in a minute. Jones Road Beauty has revolutionized makeup routines for good. Created by makeup legend Bobbi Brown, their products are lightweight, they blend easily, and they give you an effortless look that doesn't look like makeup. The creamy lip pencils are perfectly bold without being overdone, and they last throughout the day. Miracle Balm, the hero product, is an all-in-one tint that can be used as a highlighter, blush, or bronzer to give your skin that flushed, fresh, healthy glow. What sets Jones Road apart is the simplicity. It's just high quality, versatile products made with clean ingredients, no toxins, no junk. Plus, it's American made, and it's named after Jones Road out in my stomping grounds in East Hampton. If you're ready to give Jones Road Beauty a try, use code NERVE at jonesroadbeauty.com and get a free gift with your purchase. jonesroadbeauty.com, code NERVE. We are back. Now, before we get to your emails, I want to talk about Ashton Kutcher, who was at some sort of convention. And, Ashton should just really be shutting it and thankful that he thus far has not been dragged into the Diddy cesspool, because he and Diddy were inseparable for a very long time. So if you want to tell me that Ashton didn't know about any of the stuff Diddy was up to, call me a skeptic, but I find that hard to believe. Now, Ashton got up there, and instead of just being grateful, he's still employable, and people still give, some people anyway, a shit about what he has to say. He generated headlines over at People, which, I know people, they're very celebrity friendly, but God, I wish from time to time they would just throw a little shiv in. Ashton Kutcher, this is the People headline, admits he's missed out on roles because of, quote, the way I look. Now, Ashton Kutcher was a kid from the Midwest who started modeling. I think he's got one of those origin stories we're supposed to believe he was on his way to genetic molecular biology or some bullshit, but then the lure of modeling was such that he had to take it. And then he wound up on that 70s show and Dude, Where's My Car, which I will admit I saw in a theater and I really enjoyed. That said, there is a reason here's the bar to get into acting for screen, unless you are surely slotted into the character actor category. It's looks, okay? Looks get you in the door, and they are more than happy to work with people who may need some acting lessons. Jennifer Aniston allegedly, reportedly is one, and she was never a great beauty to begin with. She had connections, but nonetheless, it's your looks that get you the job, okay? It's a looks dependent occupation. I was actually just watching a clip from Taxi Driver, which I saw when I was a teenager, but I haven't seen since. And it was a clip with Robert De Niro acting opposite Sybil Shepherd. Now, Sybil Shepherd was great in Moonlighting because she had Bruce Willis to play off of, and she had great writing, but really she was not a great actress. She was cast by Martin Scorsese because of her looks. Okay, one example. Now, Ashton Kutcher wants us to believe that he has lost out on roles because he is just too handsome. No, Ashton, you have lost out on roles because you are a one-note actor, a one-trick pony. You defended your friend Danny Masterson, who is now serving, I believe, life for multiple counts of violent, vicious rape. Danny Masterson, his rape victims, at least one of them, there were two that we know of, said that he broke into her bedroom, put a pillow over her head, held a gun to her forehead, and raped her while he was smothering her. And Ashton Kutcher and his wife Mila Kunis wrote letters to the judge saying that they loved Danny and they would be happy to have Danny babysit their daughter alone. And, again, the Diddy Association. So I think all that stew, plus what Demi Moore had to say about you in her memoir, that you got her off the wagon by saying you thought alcoholism wasn't a real thing and then pressured her into threesomes before cheating on her. Ashton, maybe it's that. Maybe you're just a piece of shit. and you're not talented enough for people to put up with it. It's a theory. It's a working theory of the case. Now, this reminds me of, we've heard this before. Jessica Biel told Allure in May 2009 that her good looks were harming her career. Yeah, she said, quote, "It really is a problem. I have to be blunt." Again, Jessica, you're not that great of an actress. Jennifer Lawrence, again, not that great of an actress. She seems like a nice person, but she also seems like she was propelled by Harvey. Her career hasn't been the same since he went to prison. I'm not saying, but it is a timeline. Okay. She has said that while auditioning for her breakthrough Winter's Bone, she was initially thought by casting directors, quote, "too pretty." Listen to me. It's a lot easier for a makeup department to ugly up a beautiful woman. Ask Charlize Theron in Monster. She won the Oscar. Ask Nicole Kidman, The Hours. She won the Oscar. Then to go the reverse. Okay. Has anybody made Tori Spelling into a beauty queen? Emmy Rossum on Cast and Shameless, quote, "They thought I was too glamorous." Now, this really bothers me because there are so many gifted actresses who get pushed out of the film adaptations of either plays. Michelle Pfeiffer is one. She starred as a down on her luck waitress in Frankie and Johnny. Opposite, and she was considered far too beautiful and far too classy. Like, nobody is buying it. Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman as a hooker. Are you kidding me? Or sorry, a sex worker. Or in Erin Brockovich as sort of like this, like kind of, not glamorous, working class, struggling. No. I love Carrie Russell. I am loving The Diplomat. I watch The Diplomat. It is so much fun. Season 3 is on Netflix right now. And she's great in it. She's great in everything. But she was too beautiful for Waitress. She just was. Nicole Kidman, Destroyer, too beautiful, too elegant. Elizabeth Banks, The Better Sister, too beautiful. I could go on and on and on and on. Okay, so that's that. That is that. I'm sure we'll revisit this at some point, Now, before we get to your email, one other note. Our Substack launch on Friday has been a huge success. And thank you guys so much. We hit number 3 in new culture on Substack over the weekend. And we are totally thankful and humbled and so excited that you guys are into it, because we are into it. We had a few little glitches, and some of you emailed and DM'd me directly and said, "Hey, Maureen, like, I'm trying to buy a subscription and there's a glitch." And I shot it up at Nerve Central and they fixed it immediately. So there should be no more problems. And thanks for alerting me, because not great. Okay. Now, dear Maureen, I am, the subject header. "Let's send Ryan, quote, Bic Flicker Reynolds out in a blaze of glory. I am a dual citizen, Canadian and American, and grew up in Vancouver. Here's something you should know about Canadian law. There is no statute of limitations on arson." Remember, Ryan admitted to setting his elementary school on fire when he was a teenager. On arson in the province of British Columbia or the rest of Canada, because arson is classified as a serious indictable offense. This means that a person can be charged with arson at any time after the crime has been committed, and there is no time limit for prosecution. Have a great weekend. Take care. William, who identifies as a West Hollywood troublemaker. We hope Canada is listening. Okay. This is, again, regarding Ryan. I have a theory, and maybe it's a zero burger. It's not troublemaker. It occurs to me that Ryan Reynolds talks incessantly about being Canadian. "I am from Canada, born and raised in Ottawa, and I now live in California." Rest assured, Canadians are very much aware of our reputation. We know that people think that we're friendly, kind, and polite. And you're so right, because I have met Canadians who hide behind that fig leaf and who later reveal themselves to be really nasty people. Small-minded, ugly, nasty people. So you're right. Anyway, back to your email. Perhaps Ryan is weaponizing that, so to speak, to come off as a nice guy and be lumped in with all other Canadians. I think you are right. Dear Maureen, I'll respectfully ask for my name to be withheld if you read this, and so I will. This is a psychiatrist, active military, working with Marines. I recently had 2 subordinate female colleagues, this is a guy, complained to our colonel about me making them evaluate Marines who requested mental health treatment. I have watched my colleagues with their crying and complaining and just focused on reminding leadership of our mission to see Marines for clinical care, and that I expected my colleagues to help me meet the mission. Keep in mind, I had a busy clinic. They did not. In the end, I was removed from leadership when my colleagues threatened to resign their officer commissions if they had to report to me anymore. It was a tough experience, but I now see that I set myself up for it in a way by being naive. Both of my colleagues who were new to command have been telling me for months how everything was fine for them, but their actions and attitude made it seem like they were up to something. Both had lied to me about banal things, and I chalked it up to them not wanting to seem lazy or uncooperative or trying to save face. But in retrospect, those should have been red flags. The experience reminded me that I have to trust my gut and maintain a healthy skepticism with people, not just my patients, but also my colleagues and the Meghan Markles of the world. When words, affects, and behaviors don't add up, or when someone is obviously lying, even about small things, especially about small things, I find your show so validating in how you point out these inconsistencies in the culture, because I do think so many of us are susceptible to the fakery. We all fight against it every day, even those of us manning Nerve Central. Keep up the good work, Team Nerve, one of your many troublemakers in the military, and thank you for your service. Hi, Maureen. Troublemaker Joni here on the Alec Baldwin video that we played on the most recent Nerve after he took to Instagram to say that that most recent car crash he got into in the Hamptons was not his fault. And the video from inside that garbage truck showed that that car crash was in fact Alec Baldwin's fault. Who the fuck thinks it's okay to go around on the right like that, making that right turn, and crash into what appears to be private property? It is standard operating procedure to stop behind any service vehicle if there is no open left lane allowing you to go around and slowly. This is such a great point. Worst scenario. What if it had been a school bus instead of a garbage truck? A child being injured or killed getting on or off the bus. Would Baldwin be saying it's the school district's fault? They shouldn't have had buses out there? Yeah, he would. He absolutely fucking would. And that's why it's an abomination that Alec Baldwin got off without so much as a traffic ticket and a summons to appear in court and potentially having his license suspended. This is bullshit. He is a public menace. God, what is it going to take? He already killed somebody. He unleashed Ilaria onto our screens with Dancing with the Stars. You know, I mean, come on. How many crimes must one commit before one is remanded into custody? Please, someone at the Dick Wolf universe hear me and make me a judge on any Law and Order. I am at your disposal. Next up. You're not going to believe who just won 3 daytime Emmys and one for her personal contribution to the culture. We're going deep. We're going deep, my friends. Okay. First, a quick reminder, keep your emails coming. Let me know what's working. Let us know what's not. We were only able to fix the Substack so quickly because of you guys. Email me at Maureen@devilmaycaremedia.com or hit me up at Instagram at Maureen Callahan Writer or The Nerve Show. And of course, there's the Substack. You can subscribe to that. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming your way. We are planning our Halloween Nerve special. And we've got a lot of great stuff. We have so much great stuff. We're kind of like paring it away and seeing what we might be able to plug into like episodes leading up. But in the meantime, you know, I was talking to our producer, Marlena, who you guys know, and saying that a couple of troublemakers early on had emailed the Nerve, and I had read a couple of your emails. Some of you who said you had the gift, you know, that you were either empaths or were in touch with a dimension that most of us are not, and that it can sometimes really be, or more often than not, feel like a burden. And I'm fascinated by any of you guys who do have the gift and might want to write to us about it, and or any of you guys who have had experiences with the paranormal, were maybe non-believers and something happened to you that made you stop and think. Email me and let me know, because we'd love to include some of this stuff. Okay. And then finally, we've got our merch up at shopthenerve.com. So all systems are go. Everything's moving apace. Okay. We will see you back here in a minute. With so much going on right now, it's easy to feel disconnected, but there is something simple that does unite us, and that is shopping small businesses. Because when you choose to do that, you're not just getting a product, you're helping someone's dream to grow, and you're investing in the values that so many of us share: honesty, craftsmanship, and community. That's what A Warehouse is all about. They have teamed up with nearly 100 small business makers across the US to bring you handmade goods filled with heart and creativity, uniting people of all backgrounds in a singular mission. Let's choose connection over division and show small businesses the support they deserve. Visit warehouseshop.com and use code THENERVE for 15% off your first order. That's warehouseshop.com, code THENERVE. We are back now to the segment that we had planned for last week and serendipitously punted to this week. We did not see this coming here at Team Nerve. Over the weekend, Drew Barrymore won 3 daytime Emmys for her talk show. And one of those Emmys was for Outstanding Daytime Talk Series Host. Now, this came, days, if not hours, after Drew went viral for one of the most inelegant things I have ever seen on daytime television. And you guys, we have seen Hoda out there banging that drum, for her Joy one-on-one app. Okay. We've seen a lot of, we see Gayle King coming back from space saying, "Have you been?" We've seen a lot of inelegant behavior on daytime TV. I do not recall ever seeing anything like what went down on her show last week. I'm going to warn you, like, if you're watching this on YouTube, like, don't have any food, any drink, anything aromatic in your sights. This is really beyond. Take a look.
Let's check a box of cleanliness, shall we?
I always like doing that.
Next up, if you have stinky feet, which you don't, Drew. I smelled yours last year. They're divine.
Yeah, she did. Drew, Drew does not have
beautiful
stinky
feet. Yes.
She's like a smell good girl.
They're
really
dirty
is.
right now.
But if your feet are, girl,
Great. Let me double check.
Barefoot up.
Hold on.
Yes, I mean,
Now her
it smells like a
panelists-
whole lot of nothing. Yeah, that's what you want.
There's no scent there whatsoever. And believe me,
all.
I have other issues.
First of all, we know Drew has other issues. We're going to get into it. You want to talk about star fucking. You want to talk about, you're sitting on a panel on a daytime talk show and the host rips out her own bare foot, which presumably has been all that day before shooting, inside a sock, inside a shoe, inside a boot, whatever. And this is why I could never be like an ER doctor or nurse. Not that I even have the ability, like I could never do organic chemistry, but like the human foot that's like been around all day, like it's so, that has dirt on it. It's gross to me. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And she not only whips out her own foot and shoves it up at her nose, but then she shoves her bare foot in the face of this woman who's, I don't know who she is, but she's been conscripted for the day. And then Ross, her pet Ross, like her gay best friend who like will do anything for that seat. It's like, where is your dignity? Where is your self-respect? Where is your inner Martha Stewart to say, put that shit away, put that away. Oh my God, it's so disgusting. Now, Drew Barrymore when her show began, it wasn't a hit off the bat. I don't know if you guys remember, but it launched during lockdown, I think, and she had to do all of her interviews remotely. But initially it was like an hour-long show, and it wasn't working and it wasn't clicking. And I believe Jimmy Fallon's wife is her producer on that show, and they figured out that they needed to like chop it into 30 minutes. People can only take Drew in small doses because she's a lot. And they interspersed it with like Drew's news bit, and then they brought on Ross to try to sort of, I guess, like rein her in and like be somewhat of a foil. And so I guess it's working to whatever extent you want to call it. I mean, I think it's a national embarrassment. So we're going to go through moments on Drew's show within the past, I'm going to say year and a half, where like if I'm the producer, I'm going to say like, you got to rein your shit in, honey. First, let's watch Drew just literally bend the knee, just be an utter supplicant to someone who, even those who believe, most people think Dylan Mulvaney is in it for the clicks and the likes. Okay. He's a failed theater kid, but Drew literally got down on her knees in front of this guy. Let's go.
I'm so happy to meet you.
And now they clasped hands. They had the deep, close hug.
To meet you. I really am. This is, it's very personal for me in a world where we're all trying to figure out who we're supposed to be.
Oh, Drew, you're like 48.
Yes,
Come on. Who we're supposed to be. The bravery. If you don't know who you are at 48, you got bigger problems, sister. Okay. Now we're going to talk about, it's all this vague, like, it's like this vague self-help jargon speak that like you cannot latch onto any of it. None of it means anything. Now we're talking about combating hate. Hate. By the way, Dylan Mulvaney's never made so much money nor had so much fame and attention since transitioning. Okay, let's get real. Here we go.
I look at someone like you, and I can't imagine anybody disliking you.
Oh, please.
We can.
Do you want to know,
Now Drew's on her
ironically,
knees.
who dislikes me the most sometimes?
Who?
Myself.
Oh, me too. Oh. And
Now it's time for the performative hug.
I guess, you've asked me now, you've asked me,
I can barely
what
hear
I
them.
would do to combat the hate, right?
Yeah.
But what do you do?
Okay, that's a great question.
Oh, now we're at a pajama
You've been doing
party.
it a little
Now we're
longer than I
sitting
have.
Well,
cross-legged,
it's funny because
Drew.
when I was a kid, you starting with E.T., it was the first time I was introduced to film reviews, which are basically social media.
Enough. I think
Yes.
that's enough with her. I can't, I think she's really stuck in those ET days. I do. I think something got really stuck there. And this deep need to literally get on the floor and bring her guests down on the floor, and every single guest, like Drew, is just petting them and fondling them and touching them and crawling in their lap. And she's got the eyebrows knitted and looking up, and it's all like, please like me, please like me, please like me. It's very off-putting. A grown woman should have more self-possession than this. Next, we're going to look at Drew Barrymore. She has George Clooney on her show. George Clooney somehow winds up in this improv moment where Drew is begging him for advice, and she goes all the way with it, and she lies on the floor of her studio. This is carpet, and carpet is filthy. It's filthy. You can watch House Hunters, and like first time buyers who maybe can afford like the very lower end in the housing market, most of them know enough. They see wall to wall carpeting and they're like, we got to rip it up. It's fucking filthy. Anyway, Drew gets on the floor and lays down so George can play therapist to her.
Drew, tell me about this problem you have with handsome men that are funny.
I've come to, at 47, realize I have a new motto.
Sure.
If you don't work, we don't work.
Of 47, now we're getting our shit together. She's never getting her shit together, okay? Now, this all reminded me of this lengthy LA Times magazine profile. I printed it out, and it's like 85 pages. But I read it when it came out, and it was dated, it was by Amy Kaufman. It ran in 2023 originally, so that's only 2 years ago. And, you know, Drew has had a lifelong struggle with substances, and of course she has. Her mother was taking her to Studio 54 when she was like 8 years old. And that rewires a child's brain. Like, she will struggle with this forever. Of course she will. You know, one of the most heartbreaking paparazzi photos ever was little Drew Barrymore, I believe at age 8, surrounded by smashed cigarettes and half-drunk cocktails at like a table at like some Hollywood party, and her little head is in her hands like this. I mean, it's wild, but you know, you do grow up and you do have to take responsibility, especially when you have a show that employs hundreds and hundreds of people who are relying on you. And in this piece, her therapist said, and Drew admitted it, Drew actually offered this up, that her psychoanalyst, his name was Barry Michaels, if I'm saying it right, a renowned celebrity psychoanalyst endorsed by Gwyneth Paltrow and Adam McKay, quit on her. He, quote, Barrymore, he just said, I can't do this anymore. It was really about my drinking. And Barry Michaels himself issued a statement to the LA Times days after this piece read, and he said, yeah, that was right. Reading from this piece, she said that there was an intervention. Several of her friends, including Cameron Diaz, talked about it to the LA Times in 2019. I believe it was 2019. And she decided she had to get her stuff together because she got a shot at this talk show. And so I'm reading from the piece. Drew doesn't call herself sober. She doesn't work a program like Alcoholics Anonymous, which is fine. That's not for everybody. She makes the delineation because she doesn't want people to think she's, quote, some perfect Puritan. I kept thinking I'll master this. I'll figure it out, Drew says. And finally, I just realized you've never mastered this and you never will. So, you know, Drew has a lot of, I think, we'll watch her with Kamala Harris. Again, no matter your politics, I mean, she's ready to crawl into this woman's womb. Okay, this woman who's like, hey, I'm over here running for president. Can we talk about something else? But here we go.
I've been thinking that we really all need a tremendous hug in the world right now. Yeah. But in our country, we need you to be Mamala of the country.
Oh my God. I'm like, okay. So, you know, that's Drew's mother wound, and she really needs to take that inside a therapist's office and not inject it into a highly consequential presidential election. Now, again, we're talk show host of the year. Drew, this was one of my favorites in recent memory. This was just this year when Meghan Markle was launching her With Love, Meghan, season 1, part A. Now, I found this actually very endearing. Drew brought out a black and white photo of herself as a small child. This was it looked like the London premiere of E.T., and she is handing like a little E.T. stuffy to a very young Princess Diana, and it's very sweet. And watch Meghan Markle. Just watch her reaction to this.
Oh, that's beautiful. Nice to meet you, Meg. Oh my gosh. Look at you.
Showing it now. Meghan's mewling.
Oh, that's so sweet. That is so special.
So
I mean, you have it here. Oh.
I was lucky enough to.
That's really special.
It means so much to me to have met such an incredible human being that transcended everything. It was the honor of my life.
Everything you won't be, Meghan.
Well, I will tell H that for sure. And yeah, okay. Cool.
Okay, that was a really telling clip because, Meghan starts moving away, because basically Diana was everything she wants to be and never will be. And Drew had a personal exchange with Diana that Meghan will never have, obviously. And, short of like driving by her death tunnel and posting that on Instagram. But, she starts moving away and she goes, oh, that's so sweet. I'll have to tell H. And, you can tell Drew is like really stung by that. And she goes like, okay. And like, she kind of makes her like grossy Josie face from Never Been Kissed. Like suddenly Drew's like a nerd in high school and the popular girl has just frozen her out and mocked her. And she's in Drew's house. That's her studio. That's her house. And again, I just wish, I think I just wish she had a little bit more teeth and could say, hey, lady, my show. What do you mean? You're going to tell your husband, why isn't he watching this show? I thought he was your biggest fan. Give it back to her, Drew. Okay, now, infamously. And this, I think, is a really, really key. This is our last Drew clip. I think this is the damage that Drew suffered in Hollywood as a child and a teenager. Because Martha Stewart on her show, on Drew's show in 2024, Drew's touchy-feely. She's pawing away. She's moving into the personal space. She's ignoring the personal space. Again, talk show host of the year. Watch Martha here.
What makes you soft and gooey, though?
What makes me soft and gooey? Soft and gooey.
She's Martha Stewart. She did Hard Times.
Yeah, what?
Treatment.
Soft and gooey treatment.
Yes.
When you're treated like a lady.
Nice. It's nice.
Someone comes in and
you're the wrong gender.
I know.
Martha pushes her away out of frame, as deserved. I say, give Martha Stewart a Presidential Medal of Freedom for that. But that reminded me, Drew's complete lack of physical boundaries and her complete lack of what's appropriate, in terms of touching people you don't really know, who aren't close friends or family members, and not reading cues like stay away, back off. It makes me think that, we know what a lot of these child stars went through. And this reminded me, once again, the only thing when we were putting this together that I could think of was this clip that we just showed you guys, and all of you were rightfully horrified and we're like, how come I haven't seen this before? Dakota Johnson, the one we showed you when Mark Bowden went through this with me on The Nerve, speaking to how these people were likely groomed as kids. Let's look at it.
I'm gonna take her whole being with me from this experience.
Fondling this girl's ears.
Will you marry me?
And grabbing her by her hoop earrings.
He's just also the coolest, nicest person ever. So that was really nice to work with someone like that. It's hard to find people who are super talented and incredible.
And pushes her hand away. It's so insidious and it's everywhere. And Drew, you may have just won the Emmy Award for Daytime Host, but stop. That does it. That does it for our Tuesday edition of The Nerve. We will be back here tomorrow for The Nerve at Night, our third edition. And we've got, oh my God, we have a great deep dive on a couple of both A-listers, and both we pulled out some of their bangers of like unself-awareness, and then we're gonna just go to town. It's gonna be so fun. And of course, more of your feedback, including so again, that personal intel / piece of great gossip about Jennifer Aniston in the wake of her fully sponsored reveal of what's in my bag. I'm just being adorable over here. I mean, I'm just chilling some smart water, as one does. I mean, aren't I adorable? I'm like 56, but I'm adorable, right? In the meantime, you can head over to our Substack at thenerveshow.com. We have our second email is going out this Friday. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Grab your merch of choice at shopthenerve.com, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, Nerve at Night, and then Friday at another Full Nerve, where you'll never guess what we're about to say next.